All right, first and foremost, it's important to understand that the U.S. presidential electoral process is quite complex by normal democratic standards. In a parliamentary democracy like here in Australia or Japan or the UK, it's actually quite different. In the case of the United States, it's a mix of constitutional provisions and non-constitutional provisions. So on the constitutional side, the Constitution says that every 4 years the president and the vice president will be elected, and they'll be elected on the first Tuesday of November. So in this case, in 2024, that will be on the 5th of November, 2024. The things that are non-constitutional have to do with political parties. Political parties were not envisioned or included in the Constitution. And so what we've been seeing for the last 6 months in these presidential primaries are a process devolved from or developed by the two major political parties in the United States, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And so essentially what we would normally have in a contested year is that we would have, a horse race between competing candidates on the Democratic side and competing candidates on the Republican side. On the Democratic side, when you have a sitting president who is running for re-election, generally it's a less contested affair, and that indeed has been the case here with President Biden running for re-election. On the Republican side, often you will have a race to see who can get the most electors in that process to be sufficient to earn the party's nomination. But with former President Trump running, and I would note this is the first time since 1956 that we've had a rematch in American politics. In the U.S. politics, generally, if you lose a presidential election, you've had your shot and you're out. Obviously, Trump is a rather special character, not just in U.S. politics, but in U.S. history. And so we have a rematch in this case, and Donald Trump and Joe Biden both have already long crossed the threshold of the number of electors they need to win, some 1,200 plus in the case of the Republican primaries, 1,600 plus in the case of the Democratic parties, to clinch the nomination. So the primaries are ongoing. There's still primaries that will take place into June. But already it's a moot point. We know who the nominees will be. They will not be formally confirmed until the party conventions. The Republican Party will hold their national convention in July, mid-July, and the Democratic Party will hold their national convention in mid-August. And at that point, the formal federal election, the presidential election itself, begins once we have those two candidates confirmed.